Okay, this is April the 19th, 1987, and Moyna Thurman is about to tell about her mother and father and where they came from and a little about how they got to Oklahoma. Why don't you start out and tell about Granny Taylor is what we used to call him.
He was born in a little town, outside a little town in St. John, Kansas, and he had 4 brothers that were born there. His father was farmed, raised cattle, and one of the winters was so horrible that the cattle froze to death. They had no garden, no things planted to feed the cattle in, and the family was so disgruntled living where it was so cold. It was way, way below zero for a long time. So they decided that was enough. They were going to head south and go someplace where it was warm. So they packed up and they moved and settled in San Marcos, Texas. So the 4 sons. And after they got to San Marcos, and the father went into grocery business in San Marcos, Texas. And then they had 3 daughters born down there. And very, very lovely little town where they were living, and the children all grew up there. And his son, my father, Walter, worked for his dad in the grocery business and enlarged into a kind of a wholesale grocery business. And then when he went after high school, he went to a business college. And then he had his mother's sister, and her husband lived in Kansas City, Missouri. And they owned a big string of lumber yards, Lloyd Halliburton Lumber Company. And he went up and worked for them and was bookkeeper for them for a good many years, and learned the lumber business, and he decided he wanted to go in business for himself. So they had some dealings with people in Oklahoma, so Mr. Lloyd told my father to help the upcoming place was a little town named Shawnee, Oklahoma. So he came down to Oklahoma and looked around and decided that that would be a good place to put in a lumber yard and start a business. So he moved to Shawnee and started his lumber business, and he was doing so well, so he wrote for his father and mother and all his younger sisters and 2 younger brothers to come to Shawnee and work in the lumber yard with him then.
Where were they when he wrote them?
In San Marcos.
They were in
living in San Marcos. So grandfather sold his grocery mercantile business, and he and his family moved to Shawnee. And of course, my father had known and been going with Rosalie King in San Marcos. So after he'd been up here 3 or 4 years, I decided he had enough accumulated that he wanted to go back and get her and marry her and bring her to Shawnee. So they were married in 1910 in San Marcos, and he brought her then to Shawnee, Oklahoma to establish their home. And so they
Tell a little about her family. Had she always
she was one of 15 children, I believe it was. Her father was quite well-to-do gentleman farmer. He owned a lot of farms, had Negroes and Mexicans work for him, but they lived inside town in San Marcos, Texas. And she had gone off to a girls' school in North Carolina, I believe it was, Virginia, I don't remember where. Someplace back east to a girls' school. So she was gone for 2 years, then she came back and graduated, got her degree there in San Marcos from the State Teachers College there. And then she and my father got married and came to Shawnee and established their home in Shawnee and lived there until they both died. And I was an only child for 5 years, and they had a little boy, and he died when he was 2. So I was raised as an only child. Lived in Shawnee all my life.
How did he die?
He had an intestinal disorder, and back then they had no drugs, but he kind of didn't know what to do with him. And he had bad intestinal trouble. They took him to Arkansas to the mountains where it was a little cooler, and but he died over there in Arkansas. Brought him back, buried him in Shawnee. So that was when I was 5, and I was 6, I guess. He died a little bit before he was 2. So, all the family's been here. My grandfather and grandmother, Taylor, both lived in Shawnee until they died, and all the rest of the family scattered out all over different parts of the world, and all of them are dead, except my father's youngest sister. She lives in California. She's 92 years old.
Okay, now you grew up and went to grade school and high school in Shawnee.
Leslie and I were married. I went to OBU 1 year, college, and he went to business college, and then he started the grocery business in 1931, I guess it was. And
didn't y'all go up to Colorado right after you got married?
Well, up there, we both went to business college up there.
Right after you got married. When did y'all get married?
1929. So we came back and started in on the grocery business. Worked in it. I worked in the courthouse, county courthouse, part-time, and worked abstract office in the courthouse. And then finally, that business grew enough. I started working in the grocery store, but I had to quit then when our oldest daughter Betty was born in 1936. Quit working then for a while, and went back to work for a while again, and then Barbara was born. Quit working again. Got up a little older. I went back to work for a while. And then Bill was born in 1950. And then stayed home with them then for a while, and then after he got up to college age, got out of high school, and went back to work. Worked pretty much all the time until closed the grocery store there. Closed the grocery store in 71, wasn't it?
So,
Can't remember what years. I don't remember the years.
which homes did you spend most of your married life in Shawnee?
Yeah, when we first home we lived in for about Market Street, 1600 block. We lived there for probably 4 years. Then we moved in on Beard Street and lived 3 or 4 years. Then we lived on Drummond for a year or 2, and then moved back up on Beard Street. We always lived within 4 or 5 blocks from the grocery store. And then we bought our first home when Barbara was 1, I guess. 1 or 1.5. Moved over on Broadway and lived in that home for about 5 years. And built a house on Union. Been living there ever since 1950. Still living in that house. So.
Didn't you and Daddy elope when you got married? How did you do that?
Back during the Depression, nobody had any money. One of our friends swiped her mother's car, and we drove up to Chandler and got married one afternoon. And both the poor didn't have the money, so we had to live with my folks for a little while. So we got some money accumulated enough to rent a house.
What all did y'all used to do for fun when you first got married?
There was no money to go show on.
Well, didn't y'all go ice skating on the lake over there by Broadway Woods, or was that in high school?
Winter time we did. But that first year after we were married out in Colorado, of course, we got I lived out there during the school year, September till end of April, I guess it was. So we were out there ice skating. Went out in the mountains in the snow and all, but when I came back to Shawnee, we didn't have time to do anything. I just work all the time. And a few years there, I went back to work then for a while, then down at the courthouse to work for a while. Worked for $10 a week. Thought I was making good money. And of course, we had a hard time. You had to open the grocery store at 7 in the morning and close at 10 at night. Didn't have much help then either. Had to do a lot of it yourself. Did all the butchering and working. We had finally had a butcher to work in one checker out there.
Y'all took a lot of nice trips, I think, through the years,
Well,
didn't
it was
you?
later on. Quite a bit later on. It was after one trip that I remember of when Daddy was about a year old. We gone 2 weeks. That was a long, long time for us.
Where did she go then?
That's when we rented that trailer and pulled at the coffees. Tom and took coffee, and Les and I went because we couldn't afford to stay in hotels or eat out a lot. So we pooled our money and borrowed Mr. Thurman's car. We didn't own a car. And borrowed his new Ford, and we went all the way to California. Had to drive day and night to get out there, and just have to spend 5, 6 days out there. And we didn't go to bed for 2 nights. The whole time we were gone. We'd ride in the car and let one couple drive, and the other one get in the back seat and sleep. And then after so many miles, we'd get up, start driving with the other couple. We had our food with us in the trailer. We'd pull off the side of the road in a campground thing or a park or something and stop and get out. Go back in the trailer. We took I think it was a 5-pound brick of cheese, a 5-pound canned ham, and we lived off of ham and cheese for 2 weeks there. We spurred 2 times over in California and went out to eat at a real fancy place. Went over to Catalina Island.
Now tell a little bit about when you were a little girl. Now, where were you born?
Shawnee.
You were born in Shawnee. But y'all used to go back and visit, didn't you, in San Marcos?
San Marcos,
And tell about some of your when you were a little girl.
Every year, Mother and I would go down there and stay. We'd go down on the train and stay about a month. Then Daddy'd come down and stay about a week, come back, and then after we got a car, while we'd drive, of course it'd take us 2 days to drive down there. We'd get up early in the morning and drive from here down to Denton, Texas, spend the night, or Gainesville, whichever place when it started getting dark. Then we'd drive from there on to San Marcos the next day. But when we went on the train, Mother and I would have to go and get us a Pullman. It took us half of one day and all night and half of the next day to get there.
But didn't your grandmother had a big house down there and y'all slept on the porch and
That great big sleeping porch, and we slept on that. The house is still down there. I don't know if I see it every time we've been down there, but it doesn't look the same as it did when I was a child when we were down there. But they lived there till my grandmother died, I guess. And went back after she died once or twice. 2 old elderly aunts that never married lived there, and then they both died. So they sold the old home, and doesn't even look the same as it did.
now had the King family come pretty much from that part of the country, or?
That's why I said, Barbara, I don't remember where they came from. They came from back east, but I don't remember where it was. My mother's oldest brothers were not born in San Marcos. They were born somewhere else. The oldest children in the family, but I can't tell you right off the top of my head where they came, and I don't remember what year they came to San Marcos. But Mother was born in Buena Vista, which is a little place not far from San Marcos. And then all the younger children, the younger mother, were born in San Marcos. But her name was Brian. Her maiden name was Brian, and then some of their relatives were named Distagger. They all lived down there. One of their cousins was a doctor, Distagger. But I've forgotten all. Right off the top of my head, I can't tell you all the names of all the rest of the family or anything, and I don't remember without looking it up to see where they were from, somewhere back east.
Now, on your daddy's side of the family, you said that was a side that somebody was in the Civil War and was in prison or something?
Yeah, that was my daddy's father. And he was taken prisoner somewhere up in Kansas now. I believe it was in Leavenworth, but I'm not sure without looking that up. He was a prisoner up there until the end of the war came. He kind of liked that area up there, and so he and 2 of his friends decided to stay up there and got some land and farmed up there and raised cattle. And then he met grandmother had come from somewhere back east and was teaching school there. They fell in love, married, and stayed there. But after that horribly cold winter, they decided that was too cold much. They wanted to go where it's warmer, so that's when they went
you know what she taught when she taught school?
No, couldn't tell you that either. All this, my cousin of mine, Betty Hardiman, has all the DAR family history, and she